Yeah, my name's Rick, and I'm a cancer survivor so far anyway. I was never afraid of cancer like some people are, never really worried about it. And then suddenly last year was a bad year. First I broke 7 ribs and that hurt. As soon as I recovered from that, I was getting to grow this big thing on my back, this big tumor, and they didn't really know what it was at first. Just went on a long trip and we got back, it just got bigger. Then I was diagnosed with heart problems, and I had a 4-way bypass, and that scared me because nobody gets out alive, but no one expects to, have a chance on dying the next day. I never thought about it like that, and then suddenly here I was confronted with my mortality. So as soon as that was over, they did this operation to take that off, and it turned out to be cancerous, a sebaceous carcinoma. And luckily, the plastic surgeon that cut it out did a good job of getting it all. I got my PET scan done, and I realized that for me, I'm very lucky. It wasn't that bad. But I also had a really good attitude. I needed to do whatever I could to give myself the attitude there wasn't going to be a problem. And it still was hard sometimes. But I'd like to let everybody out there know that you can do it. We have a lot of friends touched by cancer, and a lot of them have had very good results. So, just keep your spirits up. I know it's really hard, and I'm lucky I don't have a lot of debilitating things from mine. Just a big hole in my back, really, and that'll go away someday, hopefully. So, I'd like to say that, Sean's doing a good job of publicizing this with his trip. I'd kind of like to go with him, at least for a little leg of it one of these days, but we'll see. And good luck, and I think you have a GoFundMe, right?
Yeah, I got a website where you can make donations to my PayPal.
Yeah, so he does have a website available, as you probably already know, but if you contribute some to that, it's going to go to good use, because it's going to publicize exactly what we can do to make people feel better about a diagnosis and maybe find some prevention, and I think that'd be a good thing. I have no clue what caused mine. It's probably as a little kid I used to get big sunburns, but nobody really knows, I don't think, at this point, at least not with what I had. So just keep your spirits up and contribute to the GoFundMe, okay? Thanks.
Thanks, Rick.
Was that okay?
Yeah, that was awesome. I got a few more questions here for you.
Okay.
So you said it was about a year. You had two problems for about a year.
No, this was in October when they did the operation.
So when were you first diagnosed?
Well, I went to have this thing checked out because it'd gotten really big on my back, looked like a big mushroom. And they wouldn't do it because they said I had heart problems that I was unaware of. And then as I got more into it with tests, they determined I had to have this heart operation, and that came first, so I had to wait another 2 months. And when that was over, I had to wait another month because I couldn't sleep on my stomach, and having this big thing cut off me, I couldn't sleep on my back. So, that kind of scared me a little bit because I thought it should be done right away. But of course, it didn't work out that way, and everything worked out good in the end as far as the results.
Yeah, so it took a while.
It took a while. Actually, I had this bump started out as like a little cyst or something on my back, and it was taken out twice by a local doctor. And the second time he said I must have missed part of it the first time. And then a month or two later we were traveling all around, we were in Europe, and it just kept getting bigger. Didn't hurt, but by the time that I went about eight months later, when I first went in to have them look, it was about 5 inches by 4 inches, which is a pretty big bump. And that's ended up what they did. Want me to lift my shirt and show the result?
Yeah, if you want to show them, it's fine.
Yeah, it's looking better. I don't know that it'll ever look perfect, but There it is. Check and
Oh,
see.
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. I thought plastic surgeons made you look better, but
That's impressive.
yeah, it was a pretty big hole. It went down the end of the muscle.
It's like something you see out of a movie or...
Yeah, well, it's a lot better than the thing that was on there looked like a mushroom from outer space or something. It
Yeah, it was
stuck up a little.
growing all over, fungus.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
They gave me some medicine for my heart. They gave me that, what is it, Anna? The blood thinner Xarelto. And as soon as I took the Xarelto, this thing that hadn't done anything but had smooth skin, just like exploded with little volcanoes of blood. I woke up in my bed covered with blood, and we had to go to the hospital. I was in there for a week. Yes.
Oh, 'cause you're looking-
And that's when it started to get to the point of, I was really wondering what's going to go on now, you know.
Oh, man.
I know, we spent hundreds of dollars on these big bandages of all different kinds, but it's better now, so who can complain?
How long after your operation? How long after your operation were you able to do stuff?
Well, pretty much it was okay. I didn't really have a problem doing anything, you know. I suppose I wasn't supposed to lift a lot of weight, but I was on restriction from my heart surgery already, so that wasn't like a new thing. But like I say, it was kind of a scary year in a way.
How did all this affect your social life?
Well, you talk about having a monkey on your back. Well, I had a mushroom on my back, and you could see it through my shirt. You know, you could see this big bump. It looked like a hunchback or something. So, you know, it didn't really affect my social life, but I didn't really
Well,
like
you
the
were
idea.
a little embarrassed about it.
Yeah, I was a little embarrassed about it in the end, you know, as it got really big. And it was really a mess, you know, after that Xarelto, you know, did whatever it did to it. So, I don't know. It didn't really affect my doing things as much as it could have.
After your cancer surgery, how did this affect your home life? How did this affect life at home?
What was that? I'm sorry.
How did this affect your life at
Your home life.
Your home life?
Well, Anna turned out to be a good nurse because she, you know, was helping me all through the heart surgery. I couldn't, you know, they cut your ribs so you can't move and you can't like push yourself up off the chair, get out of bed. So she was helping me do all that. So then she had to turn into a nurse with the bandages, and that was, you know, 3 times a day changing dressings. And you know, sometimes I'd wake up, a couple of times I woke up in the beginning and I'd feel I was wet, and I'd walk down the hallway and I'd see little drops of blood all the way.
Changing sheets all the time.
Yeah, and the sheets and the pillows, and
They were always bloody.
it was always a mess. But, you know, really, I think I'm lucky. It could have been a lot worse. But yeah, it did affect me a little bit. But now, you know,
Blessed.
yeah, I feel blessed, really. I feel like I'd like to give back to the community. Although, since I first came to that conclusion, I have to be honest, I haven't done that much towards it, but still working on it.
How long did it take you before you went outside alone? Like, went back?
I really didn't do much different things. I stayed in the house maybe for a week or so, but after that, you know, we just tried. I don't go out that much sometimes, and maybe it's partly because of that. You know, I was a little bit weakened with all the surgery at the same time and being in the hospital as much as I was in the hospital in a year. So, but as far as the actual taking the cancer out, the guy did a good job of that, and it was an outpatient thing, so it was much better for me.
Oh, yeah, that's been nice.
Yeah, because I spent a week in the hospital the first time it started bleeding, and they couldn't figure out how to stop it except for to bandage it. Then I had been in the hospital a week or 8 days with the heart surgery. I was in the hospital 8 days with the broken ribs. That's a lot of hospital time, especially when you're used to being out more. But being retired, I don't do that much anymore anyway, so hopefully that's going to change.
Yeah, that's my next question. It's,
Yeah.
And how has your illness changed your physical fitness?
Well, I'll tell you, overall, I'm still a little precarious as far as, being able to walk a long ways. It's much better, but I have some leg issues or something, I don't know what. And I have diabetes, which doesn't help. As far as the bike, I've got some pretty hefty leg muscles still from when I was a kid. And when I did the AIDS ride, the first day, I was the last person in. We left at 7 in the morning. I got in like 10 o'clock from San Francisco to Santa Cruz, 97 miles or 100 miles along the beach. But by the end of that time, I think we did like 60 or 70 miles in a couple hours. So, it was much better, and I would suspect that that same thing would happen now because I like to ride the bike, and, I don't have to go fast. I can do my, 10, 12 miles an hour pretty regularly. But a lot of the times, if I'm tired of pedaling for a second, I just pedal backwards, which doesn't do anything, but it sort of feels like you're unwinding or something, or just not pedal at all for a second. So, yeah, I don't foresee any problems with actually getting back on a bike and getting moving on some kind of trip.
The nice thing about the recumbent bike is you really kind of like sitting in chair.
Yeah, there was a lot of those on the AIDS ride, and those people seem to do a real good job of being comfortable, and I have to wear the padded pants and all that, the old men in lycra thing, and but I don't know. I wouldn't mind doing that, but I think I just would want to get a good road bike one way or the other. So, and I'd have to make sure it was geared right because those hills are still daunting for me.
Yeah, it's a lot of work sometimes. And miss having a road bike. Because on that bike you can't really get up.
Right.
You just kind of have to slowly spin.
Yeah, and I don't suppose you really feel comfortable just ripping along down a hill either, do you?
Actually, it's not that. It took me about 3 months to get comfortable.
Yeah.
But after about 2 or 300 miles, I feel that bike I can often ride with one hand. And one foot just kind of like...
Yeah, stretch out a bit.
Yeah, I can sit there and...
Yeah, because I like to go fast downhill. I've always liked to go fast. So on that ride, when we got to the top of this one big hill, it was just miles of gentle downhill. So everybody else was just poking along, and I was going as fast as I could go, So, and enjoying it, but it's pretty hard when every 3 seconds you have to go, on your left, on your right, I'm coming through. But,
that's the bell.
yeah. But, I don't know. I think it would be eminently possible. The first couple of days I'd like to practice a bit if I get the opportunity to do that. Do some 20-mile rides and then some 30-mile rides. And after that, it's just doing it and building back up to it as you go.
Yeah, that's how I started.
Yeah, because I did some centuries after the AIDS ride. I did 2 before it. 100 miles, if there's not a lot of hills, really isn't that bad. It takes me a while to do it, but in 50 miles, I don't think I would have a problem with it. So.
Yeah, it's just, you've got to make sure you have the food and drink.
Got to keep hydrated, especially in Arizona here where it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you're going through New Mexico or anywhere like that, or if you've got the high humidity, you want to make sure that you stay hydrated. And, I could see after the AIDS ride with all the stops they had passing out Gatorade, I felt like going to a meeting and saying, I abuse Gatorade and I'm here to tell my story. Yeah, a 3-step program for Gatorade abusers, I don't know.
I go through cycling.
Yeah.
I can see myself spending 3 years traveling around the world.
That would be kind of fun, you sometimes just see them on TV where people are riding here and there in foreign countries, and I think I'd like to do that next time we go to Ireland. Anna's from Ireland, we go regularly. It may be on the continent too. I have a lot of friends now, and she has a lot of friends, so the right time of the year, I think that'd be really nice. Maybe go to Spain and ride where it's real nice and perfect weather, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's my goal, is to keep this going.
Hmm.
You know, even if this ride only lasts 2 or 3 months,
Yeah.
that's still successful, and then I'll plan another ride. Eventually I want to just go all the way around. And
Wonderful.
I'd like to be able to do that with my family.
That would be nice. That would really make for, real togetherness and an experience no one would forget.
Yeah.
Your child in the end of that time period would learn so much. I think, children that get to travel, especially at an age like that where they're so open to things, they get to see different kinds of people. I think it really opens their mind to the world. You see people that in the United States and other countries too have never been out of the States or never been out of the state they live in, and they see someone on TV and they automatically just take that for gospel truth, that that all the rest of the world has lousy toilets, and there's places that have equally fine things as we have, sometimes different, but there's no reason to be so parochial about it. But when you get out and you travel, especially with children, it opens their mind to a whole new idea that you're happy to be where you're from. I certainly am, but you realize that not all other people have it so bad. There's people in Europe have a great life too, sometimes better in some respects.
Yeah, it seems like the media is very negative.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people think the world is a bad place.
No, I don't think it is. We have lots of relatives in Australia and New Zealand. And Anna used to live in Stockholm in Sweden for a few years. She was going to immigrate before she met me. I changed that. Well, I was one of the things that changed that. But she speaks Swedish and everything, and that's a great place. We have lots of friends there. So, I saw things that I never thought I'd see and meet people. I met a girl that lived in a castle one time. She's still my friend today. It's been over 40 years. I met all kinds of different people, So it's really a good thing.
Yeah, everybody I meet is happy and people like, I'm so worried about getting robbed or,
Yeah.
it's not. I don't see the world that way on the bicycle. It seems like people are nice,
That's true. And also, when you're riding the bicycle, you get to appreciate what you see, because you're not ripping by in the car. Now, in Ireland, we can set a course for the nearest castle because I like history. But on a bicycle, if you do that, you get to see every flower and every fence post along the way. And that's a big difference. So I think that's one thing we're going to try to do next time we go, is do a little bicycle riding, especially in the Galway area where Anna's from. So
well, maybe I'll be over there.
maybe you will. Believe me, we get free places to stay for weeks at a time when we go. We've had the most amazing places. And so if you happen to be there, you're more than welcome to stop by and stay in last time we stayed in an old Irish cottage, with the thatched roof and the stone walls and hobs in the fireplace. That's a little ledge you sit on next to the fire. You build a fire up real big and then you sit there and get warm. That was great. We had that for 3 weeks. It had been added on to. It had like 5 bedrooms or something. It was great.
Yeah, that one seller's up.
Mm-hmm.
That's 40,000 people around the world.
Yeah, that would be good then when you keep in contact with him if you know you're going a certain way. I have called up a number of my Facebook friends when we went on our trip 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, right when we retired. And most of them said that I'd talked to, said, sure, just call me when you're in the area, let me know approximately when, you can come visit. So most of them were on the East Coast that we were going to visit, and we never got there, unfortunately. But yeah, that's a way to do it, live with people.
Right now, I have 100 cancer survivors
Right.
that want me to visit them.
Yeah, I think that's good for everybody because it gives you a sense of community. Being on the internet, I think it's wonderful, but it's really good if you can meet the people that you have corresponded with and are your quote friends on the internet. Because when you meet them in person, oftentimes they turn out to be even better friends, really.
Yeah. And just like what I'm doing. Showing up here.
Right.
You know, might motivate you a little faster to get back on your bike.
Yeah, well, it's out there. My son had it, I got it new as a gift, actually. I spent a lot of money in a casino and they sent me a bicycle. It's a mountain bike. But then Ryan wanted to use it, so since I wasn't at the time, I gave it to him. Now it's been 5 years or 6 years, and I finally got it back the other day. So, you know, it's in good shape and ready to go. So I suspect I'll be doing that soon.
So, I think you already mentioned this, but what advice would you give someone who's been diagnosed with cancer?
Well, you know, I think that everybody, one of my oncologists said, you know, you're asking me questions about what's the progression going to be, and all I can tell you is you're clear now and you need to be checked, you know, like twice a year for a few years, make sure it doesn't come back. But don't, you know, you're going to feel at first maybe that it's a terminal thing or it's not a good thing. And, well, it's certainly not a good thing, we know that. But if you take care of yourself, follow your doctor's instructions, and I think that it's not the end of the world. A friend of ours had breast cancer, almost 30 years ago probably, and she was a waitress. And so she had a hard time being a waitress after that, so the state, she was on state disability, paid for her to do what she wanted to do for training, and she wanted to be an architect. So she did mechanical drawing and all that. And to this day now, she's still at that first job. And even though she doesn't have a lot of formal training like college and everything, she could do the job of an architect. Usually they say what they want and she just draws it out and they approve it. But she so improved herself. So you see, cancer for her was hard. It was tough. But in the end, she's had a great life now because of it. So if you look on the bright side of things and try not to let it get you down all the time, you know, you could be like me. Maybe, you know, it's a little inconvenient and everything's okay. But to start thinking that, you know, that, well, I'm going to die tomorrow, don't be doing that because it's not necessary. It could actually benefit you in some ways in the end. Not that I wish anybody would go through it for benefits, but is that okay?
Yeah, what advice would you give someone having a hard time?
Well, you know, I was kind of concerned because I'd pretty much made up my mind that when push came to shove, I wasn't going to do chemo. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I feel that the chemo is as bad as the cancer in many cases. So luckily I didn't need to do it. I wasn't asked to do it, but I looked on the internet and there's pages about unconventional treatments, some of which may work to some extent and others that don't. But for me, taking a really high doses of vitamin C and getting a couple different things that were recommended and trying to, you know, not eat so much sugar and stuff, whether they worked or not, it made me feel like I had control. And having control is the opposite of letting it get you down. Even if you're in the worst situation and it's really, really difficult, if you can say, I'm doing something that's going to make this better, even a placebo effect can happen and you will get better. So all I can say is, you know, keep working at doing something that puts you in control, and then you'll hopefully have a good outcome. I've seen a lot of people have really good outcomes of our friends and neighbors and stuff.
So I know you already said this already, but one last question.
Okay.
What would be your epic adventure? What would your epic adventure be now that you've survived cancer?
Well, you know, in my previous life, you know, pre-heart condition, pre-diabetes and stuff, I was pretty active. You know, in fact, right up till we moved to Arizona, till I was in my mid-50s, I tried to keep up with some of the younger people. So I broke my ankle in 7 places trying to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with a bunch of 20-year-olds. Well, that's about the time I realized that I should get out and I should try to push myself, but not try to compete with a bunch of kids. You know, so my best adventure would be, I love to travel. I'd like to travel around the world. If I was up for it, I'd like to do the Inca Trail or the Mayan Trail, whatever Inca Trail it is, sorry. By Machu Picchu. We went to Machu Picchu in Peru, and that was really cool. I'm into history, so I'd like to see all these ancient wonders of the world and new wonders of the world. Maybe walk on the wall in China. You know, lots of things like that. But I'll just sit there and close my eyes, and I can see in my mind what the people that lived when those things were built, like a castle or something. I could see how it was to live there, and that's very valuable to me. So my adventure would be to do that, and if I could raise money doing it, if I went by bicycle or, you know, even motorcycles. I motorcycle quite a bit. But if I could do something that says if I go to this many countries, would you donate $1 a country or something, and I got enough people, I could donate that to a good cause. I really think that traveling somehow or another, whether it be a bicycle trip or actually a trip around the world or something, I'd like that. And I'm not really too afraid of traveling anywhere. There's places that I think would be better to travel. I'm not really much for going to the Middle East right now, although I hitchhiked all the way through Turkey without a penny in my pocket back in the 70s. So, and I found those people to be really nice. Now there may be some changes there. So I don't know that I'd be that anxious to do that. Oh, I think there would be too, but I think that a lot of the politics have changed where, you know, I only had trouble one time. Some kids picked me up, or young people picked me up. I was around 20, and I'd say they were university students in their 20s, and I couldn't understand a word they said, but they were obviously mad at someone, and they were yelling at me in the car, and they took me by a prison. Maybe they thought I was a drug smuggler or something, I don't know. And they pointed out the long lines of women waiting to bring food to the men inside, and they kept pointing out, you're going to end up there. And finally I just got fed up and said, look, take me back to where you picked me up. I'm tired. I don't want to hear any more of this. Now, I think there might be more of that now, but that really turned out not to be a problem, but it wasn't very fun. Well, you know, I had just done like 5 years of Taekwondo, and I used to, you know, I took lessons in Sweden when I was there. I took lessons in California. I had a really good instructor. So I really wasn't scared. No one actually threatened me, but I also wasn't going to put up with a bunch of crap either. So now I'm too old for that. So, you know, I mean, it hurts me more than it hurts anywhere else to witness the broken ankle, you know, so what can I say?
Well, it sounds like you got a good life.
Yeah, I like to travel, you know. The first time I went to Europe, I think it was 1970. I'd just gotten out of high school, and a year before, saved up like $600 because I read an article how you could take Icelandic Airways to Europe for like $250 round trip or something of that nature. And you had to go on a turboprop, which took a long time, and you had to stop in Iceland. But, you know, that was pretty cool. And so I was there for a few months and met a lot of fine people and really enjoyed myself. And like the 4th or 5th trip I went over is when I met Anna in Stockholm, and she made agreement to come back and see me and my friend. When she did, I just never let her go home. I don't think she wanted to go home, actually. Well, maybe, I don't know.
Awesome, Rick. Thank you.
Well, I hope you can do something with some of that.
Yeah, that's some good material.
Well, I think, you know, like I say, if you feel in control of a situation, it's less scary. It might even be scary, but you don't, like, quit.
You know, it's like sharing your story might help
Yeah.
I hope so, because I think, you know, there's always hope for different things. And even on Facebook, you know, when I would put something up there, a lot of people would say, yeah, we're sending you good thoughts or we're praying for you. Well, I don't know, you know, but I sure felt better about it, you know.
And those videos you watch too.
Yeah.
The
So,
comedy guy, what's his name? He's that comedy guy?
yeah, well, we took a cruise and we saw a guy that does, he does inspirational talking on his ships. He's on it all year.
For cancer
And-
patients.
Yeah, he did cancer patients, he did stuff with Patch Adams. They told stories and how to keep on top of things when it really looks bad. And humor is what really does it. If you can be humorous, sometimes there's terrible tragedies, but if you can keep your sense of humor about it, that really helps a lot. So,
Awesome.
yeah, those are good videos too.
Yeah, that's it, because I think shamelessly plug my sponsor.
Yep.
I'm sure they help him pay for this ride. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, this insurer's pretty good stuff. I know I had a friend years ago who he had suddenly turned from HIV positive to actually having full-fledged AIDS, and he drank this all the time, and it helped him quite a while. So
Your mom drank it too.
my mother drank it when she was in her 80s. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's going to get me pretty far.
Yep, I hope so.